Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. We study a little piece of Revelation, and this is the top 10 list, the top 10 news events of 2024. We just started 2025, and so this is about Revelation, but it's more generic, obviously. And that's my father in the middle there. That's Reverend John C. Blackford. And he died back in 2010, about this same time in January. We try not to twist the Bible. I try to be a news junkie just like my father, and love Jesus and love God. And so give you the correct prophecy, and then news. Well, we try to give you the real news for the philosophy of the end of days. So the top 10 story for me is Charles Nenner's view of we hate ourselves. The West just literally hates herself. And that is the white horse of Revelation. So this is on the Greg Hunter's channel, USA Watchdog. He says he doesn't really even care about the election at all. It doesn't really matter. This is obviously recorded October 1st. But on the bottom here, on the right hand side, I don't even know how to fix the United States anymore. According to the cycles of the United States, it's finished. This war will probably turn into a world war, and the problem is the U.S., will have to fight Russia, China, New York, North Korea, Iran, and they will have no chance to win. Nobody will have to invade the United States. They will just finish them off with rockets from the air. That's a sign of the first horseman. And so Nenner is correct. The United States is undergoing many problems. We'll show you those problems as we get through the rest of the slides. But this is number 10, the West falling apart and the United States leading the fall. So this is from a KGB defector in 1984, his prophecy from Yuri Bezimov's predictions. And so what we're going through right now, the number 10 sign is demoralization. Really, even though Trump is coming back into office and you think things are on their way up, no, debt is still there, and there are other serious problems. So we'll discuss those. So demoralization is number one. Destabilization is number two. Number three is crisis, which we just had today, and we'll talk about it. And normalization is the final stage. So the new status quo is established under the guise of returning to normalcy while actually solidifying control under communist influence. That's the problem. That's what we're going through right now. We're going through demoralization. We sense that. We have this quick election thinking, oh, that'll change it. No, it won't change everything. It's not going to get any better. We're being destabilized. The crisis is here and it's now. Okay, number 9, the debt. It's exploding. This is from Zero Hedge, December 22nd of 2024, and it lists the United States at 121% debt to GDP. Horrible, horrible debt. $35 trillion or billion. It doesn't matter. It's trillion. It's trillion. I can't believe that. Well, some are billions. So anyway, you can see the debt picture on the right-hand side. World of debt. The United States is the big orange section. Japan looks sickening. China looks sickening. Other countries are in bad shape, and so this is the problem with the world. It's too late. It's part of the third horseman, no doubt about it. But it's too late for us to be able to change this. We're just so yet used to spending money that we don't have. And so 102 trillion of global debt. Wow. Zero Hedge. Thank you. So it is a sign of the third horseman. This is Martin Armstrong again saying depression, debt, default, destruction in 2025. From Greg Hunter again, from USA Watchdog, and this is from December 21st of 2024. He thinks everything is imploding. Everything. So this is from Wilkerson on the right-hand side. His prophecy from 1973, massive depression from which there is no escape. Many don't like to hear about the coming economic collapse. The word depression scares Americans, but believe it or not, we are not just facing another recession that will last a short while before the economy bounces back. Rather, we are facing the last Great Depression. And then he cites interesting scriptures. So this is actually not from the 1973 book, The Vision. This is from Sermon, The Last Days of America. So basically, he's prophesying what Armstrong and Nenner are talking about, which is that things are just going to continue to fall apart. And the third horseman seems to be riding. So that's the ninth case. Okay, number 8 is the pole shift is accelerating. Ben Davidson thinks it will occur by 2040. And so this is weather at the core defining and categorizing geomagnetic excursions and reversals. So we will have, first of all, the sixth seal, which would be this occlusion of the sun by dust that will then jettison coronal mass ejection, which will implode us and be like an X80 flare. And so we'll survive, but it'll be frightening, and that'll be the sixth seal. And then eventually we'll get to the pole shift, and more will occur as we go through Revelation timeframes. But the records are there. The records prove this. So I'll read on the right-hand side. Predictability of the magnetic field reversals represents a significant leap forward in our understanding of Earth's magnetic dynamics. By identifying precursors to magnetic field reversals, Tolmachev and his colleagues provide valuable tools for future research and potential crisis management strategies. It's coming, people. The scientific journals, in this case, I can't remember which journal it is, DOI, I'm blanking on it, but basically it's coming. The pole shift is coming. And so we've had these pole shifts before, the Lechamp event, the Lake Mungo event. These various excursions occur about every 6 to 12,000 years. These are all sixth seal signs. It's coming, and you'll see horrific global population losses. Horrible, horrible. And so Ben, on the right-hand side, Ben Davidson, the Sun Weather Man on X, the impact of the magnetic pole shift, which we're going to have in the next 25 years, the charts DNA diversity as a trace of global population and extinctions over time. Here's what we see in chart 1 of 2, and then he describes things in chart 2 of 2 on the right-hand side. So basically, it's coming. It's already happened before, and I live on the 45th parallel within a couple of feet of it, and I'll end up supposedly on the 45th parallel south when we're done. That's number 8. Number 7, peak death. We're starting to see signs of it. Now, you'll see that I've had to cover up many, many things in this particular article from Dr. Yaden, who, former Pfizer VP, warns the next manufacturing crisis is closer than ever. If 5 billion people took the blah, 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 1 billion are getting heart issues, 500 million or more will be dead in 5 years, and this is just from heart issues. And there are hundreds of others adverse events, and so he's predicting 2.2 billion overall will be either dead or walking dead. So I can't cite specifics, obviously, you know why, but it's like the fourth horseman. So reading on the right-hand side in the middle, Swiss microbiologist and specialist in infectious diseases, Professor Pietro Vernazza has reported in his Twitter X thread, we're now witnessing enormous declines in birth rates across the planet. So it's coming two different directions, from deaths and babies that are not born. This is the largest decline ever seen in all of history. Death comes in two forms. One is premature deaths at any age, and the other is never being born. Our sick society embraces both. That's a sign of the fourth seal. So you're seeing it. I'm predicting by 2026. You'll see more signs in 2025. This is from Ed Dowd and the Dark Horse podcast. And so, once again, you know what the problem is. And so he's citing specifics, Ed Dowd is, killed 7.5 to 15 million, disabled 29 to 60 million, injured 500 to 900 million. We can't even talk about it. 500 billion people received whatever it was. Arrest made 0. So you have the dead, the walking dead, and people that are moving towards that process. That's about 2 billion people. Notice the world appears to be in constant wars, but a matter of months, every country magically agreed to use an untested experimental blah, blah, blah. Okay, so once again, peak death by 2026. That's the 7th sign of the year news event. And a little bit more about this. This is from the expose. Rhoda, I think it is, wrote this. Experts estimate 20 million are already dead due to blah and blah. Over 2 billion are severely injured. 2.2 billion to be exact. So, you know what's causing it. You know that they're starting to multiply the numbers and figure it out. So global deaths are around 19.5 million so far, and global injuries around 2.2 billion. There you go. More reports, and this is from September 15th of 2023. So that's a long time ago. but the numbers are seemingly correct. Number 6, Pope Francis. When you have the player stepping forward in the end times, he'll be the first one to step forward, and he's already destroying his Catholic Church. You could reform it like Luther tried to do and others, but unfortunately he's dragging it out into sin and scandal. So Vigano is the guy on the left hand side. Pope Francis is the guy on the right. Vigano's a good man. He's trying hard. This is from LifeSite News. So Vigano calls him anti-Christic. Okay. So on the lower right-hand side, Bergoglio's acquaintances are the exact opposite. He is not interested in the salvation of souls, whom he actually encourages in sin and public scandal. His sympathy is for the workers of iniquity is flaunted, just as his aversion for those who faithfully serve our Lord is flaunted. Wow. Okay, so there you go. Pope Francis. Is he the false prophet? I say he is. Is he leading us into Christendom? He's leading us into something where he pulls people together and then hands them off to the Antichrist at a later date. So he would be the first one. And so Eli David is citing here how he's trying to make Jesus into a Palestinian. And that's ridiculous because there was no faith of that type during the time that Jesus was born and lived and died and resurrected. So basically, he's forging things. He's creating a new faith. Someone should tell this pope that Jesus was born, raised, and died as a Jew living in Judea. Wow. Okay. So number 5, news story of the year. Jared Kushner and Donald J. Trump aim to build on Abraham Accords. Yeah, it's being published right now that they're about 3 to 6 months away. This is from Arutz Sheva from Israel from November 15th of 2024. Jared Kushner to be a pivotal person to Trump's administration Middle East efforts. He's not going to be in the administration, but he'll be involved. Trust me. Okay, so this is a CNN article also where he'll have no formal role within the administration, but he'll be working to get peace going. Jared is best friends with MBS from Saudi Arabia, and all we have to do is wait for his uncle to die, and then MBS will run the show. And it looks like, according to this list, you're going to have 10 nations joining the Abraham Accords within 3 to 6 months of Trump taking office. So Kushner is poised to advise in the Middle East. Jared Kushner expected to be pivotal to Trump administration Middle East efforts without taking a formal job. Jared Kushner tipped to help Trump as unofficial Middle East advisor. From John Haller, he clipped all of those articles. I'm stating the upper left-hand side, and he have strengthened, added to, brought in many powerful ones into a covenant for 1 week. That's Daniel 9:27. That's more of a literal translation, and that's more me adding to it. But basically, that's what we seem to be seeing. So we could get going into the Great Tribulation potentially next fall or a year or so later. Okay, number 4, El Elyon. That is his nickname, his family nickname, is building the Mark of the Beast. He calls it Grok or Grok 2 or whatever else in his Neuralink. But it's so advanced, so amazing. He's raised 500, 600 billion, something crazy like that, to be able to build this thing out. And that will give him the ability to connect to our brains and connect to the internet and give people unlimited power, So that's Elon. And according to his family, according to this lady, Rosemary, who's called Shalom Girl on YouTube, okay, the boy's name was El Elyon. And I asked Imelda, another lady that was there, if he was the Antichrist, and she didn't even blink, but she said, no, he will present the mark. And when you see him do that, the Antichrist will take the stage. So he's part of this. And Elon is very close friends with Trump and with Jared and with other people like that. So it's just interesting to see how things are moving forward. And Neuralink, again, could be trialed on humans in 2023. And it's moving faster. How the chip works, well, it's working, So it's just interesting that he's getting ready with the Mark of the Beast. So that's number 4 story. Number 3 for the year, the falling Christian ministries, Daystar, other people, the wave of Texas pastors resigning, the sex scandals, the IHOP Kansas City falling out, the poor situation at Daystar is so sickening. I mean, these poor kids are the son and son-in-law of Joni Lamb. It's just horrible. My comment on the whole thing is the upper section here. 1 Peter 4:17, judgment begins in the house of the Lord. That's what seems to be happening because we have power, temptation, cash, lust, unaccountable people running these ministries, and they're just so stinking wealthy. They don't love God. They don't fear God. And that's the number 3 story. Number 2, Israel winning 7 front wars in Persia. Yeah, Persia is part of it. So Israel fighting existential war on 7 fronts, Netanyahu says, according to JNS, and this is from October 7th of 2024. The Jewish state has been fighting for its existence the past 365 days, Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu said on Monday, proposing to change the name of the Israel Defense Forces to Multi-Front Campaign to Revival War. That's what it is. It's more of a revival now. So on the right-hand side, you can see Hezbollah coming against them, Shia militias coming against them, Shia militias, again, from Syria and from Iraq and Iran coming at them, Palestinian terrorists coming at them from Judea and Samaria and the West Bank, Houthis from Yemen, and then Hamas coming up from Gaza. 7 fronts that they're fighting against. Pray for Israel, people. Pray for the Jews. Nobody else has 7 fronts that they're fighting against for their lives. Okay? Okay, number one. King Trump wins in 2024. And you'll say, why do I keep on calling him King Trump? Because of Revelation 17, according to Dmitry Duduman. That is where the United States is listed. 17 and 18 of Revelation. So Trump wants to end the Ukraine war, end the Israel war, bring us peace and safety, and then postpone an economic crash. We'll see what he does. He's very close friends with Elon. He's very close friends, obviously related to Jared Kushner. He won. He's bringing in some interesting people. Some of them are wonderful people, better than Biden. At least he'll be awake for the meetings and things like that. So we'll see how things go. I think what he's doing is just buying time. He's going to kickstart the economy in terms of oil and energy. He knows energy is number 1. So we'll see what happens. He'll hold things off for a while, but debt is so big. I showed you the chart. Debt is overwhelming. So he'll bring in his cabinet, and he is the king of Israel based on Revelation 17, which is kings, heads, and mountains are listed. What nation has kings, the only people that can nuke the world, that are also found on mountains, which is Mount Rushmore, and the heads. You can see the heads there on the mountains. It's a clue. I mean, it's an enigma that John gave us and God gave us from Revelation 17, but Donald's playing it up. So this is from Jason A. on YouTube. Donald J. Trump, like he's king of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God. But American Jews don't know him or like him. They don't even know what they're doing or saying anymore. It makes no sense, but that's okay. If he keeps on doing what he's doing, he's good for something. Okay? So Trump, I'm the chosen one to confront China on trade, retweets a quote likening him to the second coming of God from CNN. Yeah, interesting. So once again, this is from Psalm 20, verse 7. Some trust in chariots and some in horses. Trump would say that, but we praise the name of God, Adonai our God. My father loved that verse, and he cited it all the time. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, yes. We trust in the name of the Lord. So Trump, I'm the chosen one again to confront. Yeah, well, there you go. So this is from Jason A. and CNN, okay? Trump will give us peace. We've had 80 years of odd peace, but we will actually have a greater form of peace for a short period of time here. Trump will force it, but then war will come after that. So Trump is trying to get things done, and one of those things would be the peace time frame and bringing peace to the world, and then he would restart the red heifer sacrifice and then restart the holy in Jerusalem. So he will get things done. Things will happen. You'd be amazed with these Abraham Accords what he'll accomplish. So I'll give you the top 10 from a couple of other sources real quick, just so you can see how silly they sound. This is the Council on Foreign Relations. These are the bad guys, the WEF, okay? 10 most significant world events in 2024 from just a couple of days ago. So the space race is alive and well. Who cares? The world braces for China Shock 2.0. China's serious. But I don't think that's, it might be number 9. The Sudanese civil war rages on. Whatever. Developments in AI. AI is huge, and I cited that with Elon, with AI, the mark of the beast. Russia takes offensive in Ukraine. That's going to be shut down pretty quick here by Trump and other people. So that won't be a story quickly. Number 5, incumbent political parties take it on the chin. Yeah, whatever. That's not that big. Number 4, climate change. Okay, whatever. Upheaval in the Middle East. Yeah, but that seems to be getting shut down too. To rise in the axis of autocracies. Interesting. Number 1, Donald Trump wins. Okay, so we do agree on that. Okay, that's Council on Foreign Relations. This is from AI from Grok. This is so funny. They cited Michigan Wolverines win college football championship. Okay, that's not number 1. Storm complex is number 2. Record annual increase in atmospheric CO2. Stupid. That's good. We need CO2. That grows plants. That's plant food. Okay, 2024 solar storms. Yes, that is a significant event. Restrictions on Nicaraguan government. Number 5. What? Uh, Suspension of Houston Astros pitcher. Number 6. I mean, this is all stupid stuff, but this is just the problem is AI can't figure out these news events and what really impacts human beings. It just goes by probably the amount of searches. So Debbie's impact is interesting. The Biden administration again on Venezuela and death of Hezbollah chief. That's interesting, but that's Grok. Okay, what I'm going to give you in addition to this, these are my little points that are more prophetic, that what you've seen on April 3rd of 2024 was lightning coming up from the Statue of Liberty, and that is ground to cloud lightning that came up. That's a sign that the tectonic plates were moving in New York. Well, then on April 5th, we had the White House earthquake. Very interesting. Right around the same time, we were analyzing everything for the eclipse, the April 8th eclipse, which was huge. Well, guess what? We just had 2 of 3 of the lightning strikes that were ground to cloud for the Empire State Building. It's the federal U.S. Capitol building, and then the Washington Monument. So it's interesting. That means that there is a plate that's moving there in the tri-state area, and it means that that plate, and I'm blanking on the name, but the next slide will show it. That means it's moving. That means we're probably due for an earthquake, because we have the auroras, which is an electric situation, and then we have this plate that I mentioned, and so that's the Ramapo fault line that's moving, and that you can see it goes through New York, all the way through New Jersey, parts of it, and then all the way down to Philly and Washington, D.C. So you'll feel it the whole way through, and for some reason, the East Coast fault lines move more significantly than, say, the West Coast. So everybody feels it. So that's that area there with the Ramapo fault line. So once again, April 3rd, we have the Statue of Liberty in New York City. Then April 5th, we had the White House earthquake, 4.8, pretty good sized, all the way down to Washington, D.C. And now we're seeing it again. And so I'm saying, based on what I am noticing from, you see the lightning strikes, they're going up and they're forking up, okay? That means that we're probably due for earthquakes out there. Interesting. Okay. And then the other news story is terrorism is coming back. And I'll give you my take on that in just a moment. But I want to show you the ISIS flag and the FBI denying that it was terrorism, denying it multiple times. And then you can see the truck that was rented and things like that. Obviously, it's ISIS terrorism. Okay. That guy got radicalized. And then also terrorism. It seems like the Tesla truck explosion outside the Las Vegas hotel is terrorism. Okay, so 2 strikes on January 1st. These have been planned out beforehand. So in some ways, they're a huge news event story for 2024 because both events were planned in 2024. Terrorism. Okay, so Wilkerson from the Vision from 1973 and comments from Don. So another indicator that we're entering that time. Wilkerson said the crash will happen after a short false promise of a stock market rally. That's what we're approaching. Trump is promising an economic boom. It's a false promise because only God can deliver that, and that's by living godly lives. It will be a very short, given that Germany is already falling, Japan is falling, things like that. Those are 2 signs that Wilkerson talked about. Germany will fall first, then Japan, then America, and other countries. In the popular report of World Catching Fire above, he talked of the possibility that we are entering the interest rate death spiral where the Fed can no longer control interest rates and starting to show a little bit. And so Don is compiling many different reports from Dudeman and Wilkerson. This should be the cause later this year of financial holocaust. It means that interest rates will start to spiral upward, causing everything to crash. It was exactly what was indicated in the vision, Wilkerson's the vision, that money will become very precious and people won't want to lend it. Terrorist warnings in Dudeman's dream are interesting, so you have to put some Dudeman in there too. He said that communists will start terroristic activities in the center of the country. New Orleans seems to be a place like that, and the other case was the situation in Las Vegas, which is not exactly the center of the country, but it's not the west coast of the east coast. Okay, this is exactly what happens in hyperinflation, which is another prediction of Wilkerson, according to my friend Don. So where are we right now? We're in the birth pangs. We are not in the tribulation. We are not in the great tribulation. We're talking about the top 10 of 2024 based on the fact that we're probably in the fourth seal, and I've given you enough information about peak death and a little bit about seal 3, about inflation and other issues like that. I didn't talk about seal 2, but you know that the world is very strange right now, and peace has been snatched from the earth. We're awaiting the fifth seal and the sixth seal at a later date. We'll see when they happen. You need to work on you. It's a wedding coming up on one of the fall festivals. You have to have clean garments. You can't be naked. It's a wedding with Yeshua. Get ready for it. Be blessed. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see you soon. God bless.